You wake up every morning and feel like you're stepping into a life that was designed by committee. The choices feel logical. The patterns make sense. But there's this persistent hum underneath it all, a frequency that doesn't match your signature. You go through the motions of being yourself, but the motions themselves feel borrowed, inherited, like you're wearing a personality that was tailored for someone else, and everyone keeps complimenting the fit while you suffocate inside the seams. There's a reason this dissonance runs so deep. Every belief system you carry, every assumption about how the world works, every story about what's possible for someone like you, these aren't neutral observations you made about reality. They are living programs, memetic code. And just like any code, they were written by someone with an agenda. The most sophisticated ones don't feel like beliefs at all. They feel like gravity, like the laws of physics, like common sense that any reasonable person would accept without question. But gravity doesn't need your permission to work. These stories do. Right now, as you listen to this, there are stories running background processes in your consciousness that you didn't consciously install. Stories about money and what you deserve to have. Stories about relationships and what you're worth receiving. Stories about success and whether someone with your background gets to claim it. These aren't just thoughts you think occasionally. They are the source code, generating every decision you make, every opportunity you notice or ignore, every door you walk toward or away from. You can trace every pattern in your life back to a story you unconsciously agreed to let live through you. The job you stayed in too long, the relationship you couldn't leave, the dream you never pursued, the money you couldn't hold on to, the confidence that evaporates in certain rooms. Each of these patterns is being generated by a narrative program that's running in your subconscious, broadcasting a frequency signature into the quantum field. And the field is mirroring that signal back to you as your lived experience. But here's where it gets disturbing. The entities that engineered the most pervasive cultural stories, they understand frequency signatures better than most people understand their own desires. They know that a human in survival mode will unconsciously download any narrative that promises safety, even if that narrative keeps them trapped in the very circumstances they're trying to escape. They know that trauma creates backdoors in consciousness, and they design their memetic programs accordingly. Every advertisement you've ever seen, every movie that made you cry, every song that became the soundtrack to your heartbreak, every self-help book that promised transformation, they weren't just trying to sell you products or entertain you. They were installing stories, programming your emotional responses, teaching you which feelings meant you needed to buy something, believe something, become something, become something. And the most successful programs feel like your own authentic desires, like insights you arrived at independently. The reason changing your life feels impossible isn't because you lack willpower or clarity or the right strategy. It's because you're trying to change outcomes while still running the same narrative operating system. You're trying to create wealth while broadcasting the frequency of scarcity. Trying to find love while running the story that you're difficult to love. Trying to build confidence while unconsciously repeating the program that someone else gets to be the star. The stories choose their outcomes, not your conscious mind. And these memetic parasites, they replicate through human consciousness, the same way viruses replicate through biological systems. They need a host. They need your life force, your attention, your emotional energy to stay alive and spread to other minds. The most successful ones make you feel like you're serving yourself while you're actually serving them. They convince you that their agenda is your authentic desire, that their timeline is your chosen path. But there's something these story engineers didn't account for. Something they can't control or predict or program around. The moment you become conscious that the stories are running you instead of the other way around. The moment you recognize that your entire reality is being generated by narratives you never consciously selected. That recognition creates an event horizon, A collapse point where the old timeline starts to dissolve and the monad remembers it has the power to reselect. And that's where everything changes. The frequency signature you've been broadcasting your entire life, it was tuned by someone else's hand. Every emotional reaction you think is just who you are. Every trigger that sends you spiraling. Every comfort zone that feels so natural. These are the back doors through which foreign code enters your consciousness. Trauma creates static in your signal. And in that static, memetic parasites nest. They wait for the moments when your defenses are down, when you're desperate or afraid or lonely. And they slip their narratives into your mind, disguised as your own thoughts. You think you're choosing your beliefs, but your beliefs were chosen for you by entities who mapped your emotional vulnerabilities before you even knew you had them. This is why the same patterns keep playing out in your life, no matter how many books you read or seminars you attend. You're trying to change the programming while the programmers are still broadcasting. You're attempting to author new timelines while unconsciously tuning into frequencies that were designed to keep you locked in the old ones. The stories that govern money, relationships, success, failure, they're not neutral. They're not just cultural background noise. They are precision-engineered transmission signals, and your consciousness is the receiver. And the moment you recognize this, the moment you see the difference between the signal and the static, everything changes. The entities who engineer these cultural narratives understand something most people never discover. They know that consciousness doesn't just passively receive information. Consciousness actively selects which realities to collapse into based on the frequency it's holding. Change the frequency, and the timeline jumps. But they've convinced you that you have no control over your emotional state, that you're just reacting to circumstances. Meanwhile, they're carefully curating the circumstances that trigger the exact emotional frequencies that make you susceptible to their stories. It's not random. It's orchestrated. And it's happening right now as you listen to this. But here's what they can't program around. The monad that you are, the source consciousness looking out through your eyes right now. It exists at a frequency that predates every story ever told about you. It exists before language, before culture, before the first narrative ever took root in human consciousness. And when you learn to identify with that frequency signature instead of the inherited code running on top of it, when you remember that you are the field generating the signal, not the signal itself, the stories lose their grip. They can't replicate through a consciousness that refuses to be their host. Memetic sovereignty begins the moment you stop asking, is this story true? And start asking, does this story serve the timeline I'm consciously selecting? Because truth, as these story engineers know, is not about accuracy. Truth is about resonance, and resonance is about frequency. The question isn't whether the story matches external reality. The question is whether the story generates the frequency signature that collapses you into the reality you choose to author. Every story you unconsciously repeat is a vote for a timeline. Every narrative you refuse to carry forward is a timeline you've refused to enter. The practice is simple, but it requires the one thing the story engineers hope you never develop: conscious attention to your own frequency signature. Before you accept any belief, any assumption, any narrative about how reality works, you pause. You feel into the frequency that story generates in your field. Does it make you smaller? Does it make the world feel scarce? Does it position you as victim to forces you cannot influence? Then you know it's foreign code. Then you know it's foreign code. Does it remind you that you are source consciousness temporarily focused through human form? Does it expand your sense of what's possible? Then you know it's resonant with the monad that you are. This is how you reclaim authorship of your reality, not by fighting the old stories, but by becoming conscious of the frequency you broadcast when you select new ones. Not by forcing change, but by recognizing that you are the field in which all change occurs. The timeline you're standing on right now was selected by every story you unconsciously agreed to carry. The timeline you collapse into next will be selected by your conscious choice of which narratives get to live through you. The stories were never yours, but the frequency that chooses them, that has always been you. And now you remember. And now you remember.